Welcome back to Atlanta, everybody. Let's send it down to the third member of our broadcast team today, Karen Bryant. KB?
All right, thanks so much. You know, they say home is where the heart is for the Falcons. The home opener is where the hurt is. They are down 3 Pro Bowlers. Devontae Freeman, running back, is out with a knee contusion. No real timeline for his return, I'm told by Coach Quinn. He won't be back till he can once again be violent and explosive. Tevin Coleman will get the start on defense. Strong safety Keanu Neal is out for the season with a torn ACL. DeMonte Casey steps in, and over at linebacker, Deion Jones is out until about maybe week 11. That's as soon as he can return. He's on injured reserve with a foot injury. We will have Duke Riley slide into his spot, and Foye Oluokun gets the start. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, KB, and we are underway as DJ Moore lets the ball bounce into the end zone. So we're going to get a good look at this Carolina Panthers offense. There is Cam Newton, very effective on the ground last week. 58 rushing yards led the team. Not a whole lot of deep shots, Greg Jennings, but that could come down the road here in this North Turner offense.
It could. I'm not so much concerned with the deep throws for Cam Newton. He's going to definitely take his share, but he has to be who he is, and who he is as a runner with the ball in his hands and be effective doing that.
So C.J. Anderson going to start in the backfield, and Christian McCaffrey split out wide to the right, one of the best receiving running backs in the National Football League, going in motion right now. The handoff to Anderson. Anderson picks up the first down and then some. 23 yards for C.J. Anderson on the first carry of the game.
This is how you would ideally like to start this game. You see C.J. Anderson just has a big, huge gaping hole. He hits the hole. I mean, it's about making players miss, but when you have a hole like that, it's not a whole lot you need to do but just run straight through it.
Anderson coming off his first 1,000-yard season with the Denver Broncos. They were content to let him leave via free agency. First and 10 at the 47. The handoff to DJ Moore, the rookie out of Maryland, eludes one tackle, picks up 6. Taken down by DeMonte Casey. Casey's second tackle of the game. Let's take a look at this Carolina offense. Of course, MVP Cam Newton at the helm, and you're going to see fullback Alex Arma be involved in the offense somewhat today. A good receiving core. Ian Thomas replacing Greg Olsen, and a ton of changes on the offensive line. Pro Bowler Trey Turner is out. They also lose Darrell Williams to injured reserve as well. Newton going to throw for the first time today. That pass is complete, very close to the first down. Devin Funchess making the catch.
Dan, it'll be interesting to see how this game continues to unfold. But for both of these ball clubs offensively, they both want to establish the run to open up their passing game.
We're going to be talking about the tight end situation a whole lot during this game. Greg Olsen, certainly one of the most important members of this offense. He's been the #1 receiver essentially for Cam Newton every year he's been healthy over the last 4 or 5.
He has. He's a huge piece of this offense.
And here's a look at McCaffrey picking up 3 or 4 for the Panthers. So here's the offensive line last week. You had Moton starting at left tackle, Van Roten at left guard, Ryan Khalil, the captain of this O-line at center, Turner, and then Williams. But look at all the switcheroo going on here. Chris Clark signed off the street on Tuesday, getting the start at left tackle. Moton moves over to the right side, and then you have Van Roten and Larson in there as the starting guards. Second and 7 for Cam. Decides to keep it himself, and he's going to be about 2 yards shy of the first down. So we talk about the injuries on the offensive line for the Panthers. How about this Atlanta defense? They are without Keanu Neal. They are without Deion Jones, a couple of Pro Bowlers. So Duke Riley moves over to the middle from outside linebacker. He's now getting the calls on defense, Greg. This is something that he's experiencing for the first time on the NFL level. DeMonte Casey gets the start at safety, replacing the Pro Bowler Neal. 3rd and 3. Can't connect over the middle. That was Jarius Wright, the former Minnesota Viking. So the Panthers are going to be forced to punt on their first drive of the game.
Jarius Wright, a player that they're looking to be able to step up and take some of the load off of Ian Thomas, who is filling in for the injured Greg Olsen. But he's got to come up with that catch on a huge third down.
And it looks like they're going to go for the field goal attempt here with Graham Gano. He was easily making kicks from the 47 here. This is going to be a 54-yarder rather, for Graham Gano. The kick is up, and Gano's kick is good. Former Washington Redskin putting it through to give the Panthers an early 3-0 lead here in a huge divisional tilt in Atlanta. Welcome back to Atlanta, everybody. So a good start for Cam Newton and his offense, just getting on the board. They, of course, have lost 3 in a row here in Atlanta, which just happens to be Cam Newton's hometown. And this Falcons defense, we talked about those changes. You lose 2 Pro Bowlers, not always easy to adjust, Greg.
It's not always easy to adjust, but one thing Dan Quinn mentioned when talking to him, he prides himself in making sure these young guys get a lot of reps early so that when they are asked to step in, they can fill in and not feel the pressure that a young guy would feel if they didn't have the experience.
That's a young guy right there, and wide receiver Calvin Ridley out of Alabama, returning the kick, taken down by Lorenzo Doss. Now, here's a look at Matt Ryan's numbers from Thursday in the first game of the season against the Eagles. Simply stated, they weren't good. A passer rating under 60. That happens about once or twice a year from Matt Ryan. The good news, Greg, is once he has a game like that, he generally bounces back and plays well.
Absolutely. From the on look, you look at those numbers and you see 251 passing yards. You're like, what was wrong? Well, there was no touchdown throws. His passing percentage was low for Matt Ryan, and he just expects more of himself, and this team needs more from him.
Have a slight delay here because there's a player down on the field. I believe that's Jared Norris, the linebacker. Let's take a look and see if we can figure out what happened here. You can see the collision with Justin Hardy. Didn't look head to head, looked like a shoulder collision. We're going to be back here in Atlanta after this. But look at Luke Kuechly in that Carolina defense, one of the best in the NFL. Held the Cowboys to just 8 points in the opener and racked up 6 sacks on Dak Prescott. Definitely something that Matt Ryan and Steve Sarkisian, the offensive coordinator for the Falcons, have been well aware of all week long. Coleman getting the start at running back, taken down by Kuechly. Coleman, of course, starting in place of Devontae Freeman. You heard Karen Bryant say it before the game, not sure exactly how long he's going to be out. So Steve Sarkisian going to be leaning heavily on Tevin Coleman. The rookie, Ito Smith, out of Southern Miss, going to get a few snaps as well.
Yeah, Tevin Coleman, he's definitely a different style of running back. More of an outside edge. Want to get to the edge with Tevin Coleman, allow him to utilize his speed.
2nd and 7 for Ryan. Fakes the handoff, rolling out to his right, decides to keep it, and slides about 2-3 yards short of the first down marker. Denor Searcy was there. We don't see that a lot from Matt Ryan.
We definitely don't see it a lot, but one thing we will see throughout the course of this game, if you watch the replay, when they send guys in motion, the Carolina Panthers is one of the most highest rated teams as far as making adjustments once they see a motion. So we're going to see a lot of motion from the Atlanta Falcons today.
And there we have it again, Marvin Hall going in motion. Ryan on 3rd and 3. Complete to who else? Julio Jones.
When you just watch this play, you got Julio Jones in the slot, which something you typically don't see a whole lot of, specifically him running a quick out route. But one thing about the Atlanta Falcons that they can do is convert on 3rd down.
Julio Jones out of the game for a moment. First and 10 on the 33. Coleman picks up a couple. Let's take a game break now and check in with Carissa Thompson. Carissa.
Thanks, Dan. Let's go to Tampa Bay. Ryan Fitzpatrick picking up right where he left off after last week's performance. Boom. Deshaun Jackson, the recipient of this 75-yard touchdown, has his team up early, 7-0. Dan, Greg, and Karen.
Wow, that did not take long. Deshaun Jackson doing work in week 1 and doing it once again.
Deshaun Jackson is back.
It's been a resurgence.
Ryan Fitzpatrick in at quarterback. They look like a completely different offense down there in Tampa.
A down year for Deshaun last year, his first year with the Bucs. And that is Calvin Ridley, his first catch of the season. That's something they said they wanted to do, was get the youngster involved.
Yeah, talking to Steve Sarkisian, he wanted to get Calvin Ridley involved in the offense early and often. He provides a lot of elusiveness when he gets the ball in his hands, and he provides a lot of extra things that Taylor Gabriel provided for them last year.
Year number 2 as the offensive coordinator for Steve Sarkisian. Says that he's making the offense more of his own this year, something he really didn't do last year. He was basically running Kyle Shanahan's exact system. 3rd and 1, Coleman picks up the first down and has some room. Up the right sideline, finally pushed out of bounds by the rookie Dante Jackson.
You watch this, and again, I talked about earlier, Dan Quinn mentioned Tevin Coleman getting on the edges, getting outside the edge, and allowing his speed to become a factor early in the game. We see it right there, running behind his tackle, Ryan Schrader. Just simple zone read right there. Tevin Coleman can kill you with speed if he can get out on the edges.
First play at 20 yards or more allowed by the Carolina defense all season long. It went for 27. This time to pitch outside, and that's another first down. The rookie Ito Smith getting the carry, but there's a couple of flags on the field.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a face mask on the defense here.
92 is Vernon Butler. Waiting to find out from Bill Vinovich.
Personal foul. Defense. Number 92, horse collar tackle. Personal foul. Face mask. Offense number 25. The penalties offset. Replay first down.
All right, so here's a look at the horse collar, the penalty they called on Butler. But they're offsetting penalties because they called the face mask on Ito Smith.
Wow, you really don't see that face mask called too often on the ball carrier, especially when the defender has you by about 150 pounds.
Ito Smith, 195. Vernon Butler, 330. Greg's math is a lot better than mine. The pitch outside. And once again, it's going to be the rookie putting his head down, picking up about 2. Take a look now at this Carolina defense. This front 7, one of the best in the NFL and has been for quite some time. The defensive line just stacked. Ron Rivera couldn't stop raving about how well they've been playing. As Matt Ryan wasting little time, no huddle offense. That is complete to his tight end, Austin Hooper, leaps over the tackler and is 3 yards shy of the first down. Dante Jackson coming in low.
Yeah, Austin Hooper right there on that play. He just slips right underneath the entire defensive line and behind his offensive line, comes wide open. If he catches it clean, he might even get the first down on that play, but you bobble the ball in this league, bad things can happen.
Well, he still managed to pick up 7. You got to like the rookie Dante Jackson being fearless coming in here. Matt Ryan split out to the right.
Mohamed Sanu
Running the
played
wildcat.
quarterback.
And nothing going there, taken down by Luke Kuechly in the backfield. Yeah, this is something we've seen before.
This is something we've seen before, but when you have a Luke Kuechly on your side of the ball, he studies film like no other. He studies film like a quarterback. He knows exactly what he's looking for, tips that's going to tip him off to where the ball is going and what you're trying to do as an offense, and he read that to perfection.
He is so good, a 5-time Pro Bowler, former Defensive Player of the Year. Said he's very familiar with this offense. He's been playing against Kyle Shanahan offenses since his rookie year and when Kyle was in Washington. Matt Bryant from 44 yards out to tie the game. And the 43-year-old hits the 44-yarder. You don't hear that very often. Tie game here in Atlanta. There's a look at the numbers on the first drive of the game for the Falcons. Get a field goal from 43-year-old Matt Bryant. And Tevin Coleman with a big run. Ended up with 3 carries for 30 yards on that drive. They were without Devontae Freeman for a couple of games last year, and Coleman played very well in both those games. The Falcons put up 34 in each one, so certainly he's no stranger into stepping into that RB1 role. Families affected by Hurricane Florence urgently need support. Help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to these families. You can donate today by going to redcross.org or text Florence to 90999 to give $10 to American Red Cross Hurricane Relief. Earlier today, the Falcons recognized the storm victims and sent their best wishes and prayers to those affected by Hurricane Florence. So our second look of the day of this Panthers offense. C.J. Anderson, Christian McCaffrey both once again in the game together. McCaffrey working out of the slot, little bunch formation to the bottom of your screen here for the Panthers. They fake the handoff to Anderson, toss it out to McCaffrey. McCaffrey picks up 1, maybe 2. Time for another game break with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Dan. So how do you help out Aaron Rodgers, who's got that bum knee? Special teams. Block punt recovered by Josh Jackson in the end zone for a touchdown. Packers up 7-0. Dan?
Thank you, Carissa. Mentioned this earlier. 8 divisional matchups going on today. This is as big as it gets, and so is that one between the Packers and the Vikings.
Yeah, that's a big one in the north. We got a big one right here in our hands in the south.
Newton throws. Again, it's McCaffrey, about 3 yards shy of the first down. Ricardo Allen was there.
You know, with Norv Turner, the type of offense he likes to run, McCaffrey is going to play a huge role. I understand he played a huge role last year, but this year, DJ Moore being very versatile, getting the ball in these guys' hands is going to be at an all-time high because they don't want Cam Newton taking those extra hits on the quarterback.
Norv Turner, his first year as the offensive coordinator here in Carolina, well-traveled, and including some time with the Vikings, where he coached my partner here, Greg Jennings. We'll get some good Norv Turner stories, I'm sure, as we go along. 33 for Cam and company. And the whistle is blown as they have a flag on the field.
False start. Offense number 11. 5-yard penalty. Good third down.
That is the veteran wide receiver Torrey Smith, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Call for the false start. Just a little tiny movement there from Smith, but enough to draw the penalty. So they're looking at 3rd and 8 now from their own 27-yard line. Cam feeling the pressure and taken down right away. That was a corner blitz. Brian Poole getting the sack.
This is what the Atlanta Falcons can do to you. They can get pressure on the quarterback. They talked about making sure that they harass Cam Newton, getting the ball out of his hands. They understand as long as he has the ball in his hands, he can hurt you. But if you get the ball out of his hands, you get around him in the pocket, don't allow him to get outside the tackles and beat you with his legs. These are the types of results you can have.
A perfect blitz from the corner, sneaks in right there between the guard and the tackle. Fielding the punt at the 30-yard line, and there's going to be a flag on the play as Justin Hardy takes it back for a couple. There's a look at Cam Newton. Really nothing he could do there on that last sack. Poole coming in so quickly.
During the
You see him
return,
there with
illegal
Scott
block in the
Turner.
back. Receiving team number 29. 10-yard penalty. Atlanta ball, first down. Timeout.
Penalty on Jordan Richards. One more look at that corner blitz. Here comes Brian Poole. Down goes Cam. Stalled second drive for the Panthers that ended with a sack. Cam Newton and his offensive mates trying to figure it out. As Matt Ryan now on the field with Tevin Coleman in the backfield. Ryan complete, tight coverage there, but Julio Jones makes the catch. James Bradbury was the man in coverage, who ironically is the only member of this secondary still here from 2016 when Julio torched him for 300. One of just 6 300-yard games in NFL history.
Yeah, he definitely was there, but he got injured in the first quarter early, so he wasn't on the field for all of that.
Looking for Julio again. Bradbury tight coverage. This time Julio cannot haul it in. Carissa Thompson, what's going on?
Well, Dan, we're going to go back to Green Bay. So the Vikings trailing 7-0 when Kirk Cousins finds Laquan Treadwell for that 14-yard touchdown, all tied up in Lambeau. Dan?
Greg, is that a Laquan Treadwell sighting?
That is a Laquan Treadwell sighting. It is. This is the matchup that I'm excited to see all afternoon because, in my opinion, James Bradbury, if they can get pressure on Matt Ryan, he can match up very well against the Julio Jones on the outside.
5 wide receivers set for Ryan. Flushed out of the pocket, and Ryan's going to pick up the first down on his own.
As I look at this play, you watch Calvin Ridley here. He's going to come open. Matt Ryan just, I don't know if that's just a lack of trust of the young guy and just wanting to keep it versus throw it, but that's a throw that Matt Ryan could have made and allowed Calvin Ridley to do something with the ball in his hands.
He uses his legs when necessary, and the Falcons now 3 for 4 on third down. Ball's on the ground. Ryan just going to jump on top of it.
Matt Schaub is actually in the game. Matt Ryan is trotting back on the field now.
Well, maybe that's the issue. Schaub obviously played many years at a high level for the Houston Texans. Does not get a lot of reps right now. Here's a look at the snap, Greg.
Yeah, just mishandled. Just clearly mishandled the snap. That's the second week in a row that Matt Ryan has busted up that knee brace.
Cost him just a play here. That's what happens when they slide on this turf with those knee braces. 2nd and 18 for Ryan and Falcons. Cooper taken down right away. Dante Jackson, the man on the tackle. Gain of 7 for the Falcons. And they're going to be looking at 3rd and 11. Dante Jackson, a track star as well as a football player at LSU. A 4.32 40 at the combine. Julio Jones was talking about the Falcons receivers for the most part being slightly faster than the secondary. He said, besides that young guy, Dante Jackson.
Right, he definitely made mention of that 4.3 speed.
Yeah. Ryan on 3rd and 11. Looking deep for Julio. Julio has a step, but can't catch up to the Ryan pass. Bradbury in coverage.
You know, I like that play, though. You're keeping the defense honest. You're making sure you're taking shots, which, again, talking to Julio Jones, he clearly let us know we're going to take our fair share of shots to keep them honest, to make sure that they're off and they can get all the routes that they want on the route tree underneath.
Matt Bosher on to punt for the Falcons. DJ Moore deep to return for the Panthers. And Rookie out of Maryland taking over return duties after Demir Bird was out with an injury. Catches this one on the run. Gets out just past the 30-yard line. Taken down right away by Justin Bethel. New kid on the Big Ten block, Scott Frost, leading his Nebraska squad into the big house to square off with Jim Harbaugh's 19th ranked Michigan Wolverines. Saturday at 11:30 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Has not been a great start for Frost at Nebraska this year after tremendous success at UCF. 10 seconds left here in the first quarter. Christian McCaffrey in the backfield behind Cam Newton. Newton to pass. Pumps, dumps it off to McCaffrey. McCaffrey picks up the first down, cuts back inside all the way out to the 49-yard line. An 18-yard gain to wrap up the first quarter here in Atlanta. We are knotted at 3 after a couple of field goals. Panthers and Falcons set to start the second after this.
You see here on this first play, this first down play, you got McCaffrey here. He's going to check his responsibility. There's going to be no one there. Then he's going to get out and release in his route after checking responsibility. And what I like about that is Cam Newton showing the patience and going to his check down.
McCaffrey again, this time on the ground, picks up 3. Duke Riley, who moved over to middle linebacker from outside linebacker there for the tackle. McCaffrey really, outside of Cam, the centerpiece of this offense because he's so versatile, can do so many things.
No question about it. He's a huge piece to this offense. As we see Cam here checking it down to McCaffrey again.
Nice to have a safety valve like McCaffrey who picks up another first down.
It is. And what I like about it, and when you're watching as a fan, you like to see the balls thrown down the field. But what I like about what Cam Newton is doing, he's not forcing the ball down the field unnecessarily. He knows that if I can just look and scan my guys, go through 1, 2, 3 of progression, if I don't have it, if it's not there, I got a guy coming out of the backfield that can catch just as good as every receiver I have on my team.
Well, and that's not an overstatement. Coming out in the draft, he might have been a first-round pick as a slot receiver. This time it's Anderson down to the 35-yard line. Anderson is an interesting story. Finally breaks out with his first 1,000-yard season in Denver. And they were cool just letting him walk out the door, and he really is a tremendous compliment for Christian McCaffrey in this backfield.
He really is. He gives him that physical power back. We see him a lot in the red zone, in the goal-to-go. Compliments McCaffrey very well.
Newton feels the pressure. Tripped up by Vic Beasley, gets out just past the line of scrimmage. Deidre Sennett in there as well, and there's another look. Beasley, Sennett both getting them. Good defensive play there by Atlanta.
Even that last play, you see McCaffrey leak out to his right. Cam Newton can't become so familiar with the check down to where he doesn't want to throw it. Be okay with just taking it versus taking the hit on yourself.
3rd and 4. Pressure coming. Cam unloads. Almost a one-handed catch made over the middle. That was Torrey Smith, just couldn't hold on. Tack McKinley and Grady Jarrett collapsing the pocket on Cam.
Yeah, one thing we do know about Cam Newton, when he does miss, it typically is high. I still think Torrey Smith, he's a good enough receiver. He can come up with that ball. When you're running across the middle of the field like that and having to reach behind you, it's a tough catch to make, but that's why we get paid the big bucks.
We're so used to seeing those one-handed catches made these days. Going for it on 4th down. Last season, 5 of 11 on 4th down conversions. McCaffrey splitting to the left. Cam tucks it, and Cam picks up the first down easily, and there come the flags. Damontae Kazee with the big hit on Cam, and there's
have a brawl.
There's all kinds of stuff going on the field right now. He hit the quarterback late, and his teammates are going to have issue with it. Kazee, the second-year safety out of San Diego State, who is replacing Keanu Neal in the lineup.
And this is a point of emphasis this year. You know, as a defender,
here's another look, Greg.
Yeah, here's another look. You know, as a defender, when you have a quarterback running at you, and you pretty much, again, Cam is 6'5", 250, but you know he's going to end up sliding. You have to keep your head up, and you cannot make contact helmet to helmet. It's a huge point of emphasis this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not looking at potentially throwing him out of the game for this hit.
Which they can do now, the new lowering the helmet rule. And the one thing that they said, and they told us about Kazee, was that he is not a big player at 190, but he's not afraid to lower his head and hit. Let's bring in Mike Pereira to get his opinion on what we're looking at here. Mike, what'd you see?
Well, I mean, I think this is in line as to what happened with Sean Williams in Indianapolis. I mean, in Cincinnati. What you've got is Cam giving himself up. He's defenseless. He's hitting the head. They're going to maybe rule on the field ejection. Now, what they're waiting for here now is if they did, they'll talk to New York for a confirmation, because New York gets involved if, in fact, they called for an ejection. And that's what's taking this conversation so long, and, of course, gets Ron Rivera in the conversation also.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. Obviously, tempers flaring when Cam Newton gets hit like that. Taylor Heineke, the third-year quarterback out of Old Dominion, is taking the field for the Panthers.
Yeah, and talking to Cam yesterday, you know, I asked him about how he feels about the new roughing the passer penalties. And you see Cam right there, fired up, showing a lot of emotion. But he's excited about it because he feels like he was slighted a lot of his career when it comes to just taking those extra hits on quarterbacks, because he's bigger, he's more physical. When you look at him in his stature compared to some of these linemen as well as linebackers in the league, he's bigger than a lot of these guys.
Personal foul. Defense number 27. Number 27 has been ejected. We have a retaliation, personal foul. Offense number 11. He is not ejected. Those penalties set at the dead ball spot. First down.
All right, here's another look. Kazee coming in. Newton obviously giving himself up. Helmet-to-helmet contact. Kazee tossed out of the game, and here comes Torrey Smith. That's the retaliation as he shoves Kazee down to the ground. So a penalty on Smith. 4 flags on the field, flying in from everywhere. Mike Pereira in Los Angeles. And Mike, this is about what you expected?
It really is, Dan, and I think that really you're trying to keep control now, and I think the ejection is the right thing. You know, it was flagrant, and then the point is the retaliation created another foul, but since they both occurred as dead ball fouls, they offset at the spot, and Carolina keeps the gain. But, you know, I think everybody's got to take a deep breath now, and Vinovich will go over and talk to both coaches and try to make sure now, critical point in the game, that they can keep the emotions down and keep the game in check.
Cam Newton warming up on the sideline, is ready to head back onto the field. There's a look at Kazee.
Man, this is a huge loss for the Atlanta Falcons. You're already without your starting strong safety, Keanu Neal. So you go to Kazee, who they're very high on. You traded for Jordan Richards this week from New England. Now he was expected to get first and second down snaps. Now he's going to be he's basically going to be asked to play all 3 downs now.
Jordan Richards acquired via that trade with New England, and they are very thin now at safety in the secondary. Cam Newton does not have to leave the game because a foul created the injury, so he is allowed to return on the very next snap. The give to McCaffrey hurdles a man down inside the 15-yard line. And you saw when Cam was going into the tent how fired up he was. It is no surprise that he's back out there now and dancing.
No question. When you think about the value and just the added eyeballs that he will attract with him just being on the field, you know, no disrespect to anybody coming in for Cam, but you got to account for him anytime he's on the field.
8 plays so far in this drive have eaten up almost 4 minutes of clock.
That's going to be a false start on Torrey Smith again.
I think you're right. You can see Torrey looking over there at the line judge.
False start. Offense number 11. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Greg, you don't see this very often. 2 false starts on a wide receiver, especially one of Torrey Smith's caliber.
You know what you don't, but with Norv Turner's offense, he expects you to dig out that safety a lot. So he's going to have you in tighter formations, in tighter splits that acquire for you to go run up on a linebacker or a safety, and you saw Torrey Smith trying to get a jump on his responsibility as he's delayed coming off the ball here.
Nothing going for McCaffrey. Grady Jarrett in there on the tackle. The graphic flashed up on the screen just a moment ago, just how big Cam Newton is. 6'5", somewhere between 245 or maybe 250, as he told us in our production meeting yesterday. Obviously fluctuates, but look at that. Compared to a Falcons linebacker, he towers over them.
Yeah, this is abnormal for our league. When you see a quarterback this size, this stature, with this amount of ability and athletic ability at that, and agility to get things done with his legs and his arms.
Agility, ability, athleticism, one of the reasons that he is a former MVP, and you see all of it right here on one play, finding the open man and picking up the first down. That's Devin Funchess. Almost on cue, Cam Newton showing it all.
This is just fun to watch when you talk about something that a player exemplifies and he showcases it right impromptu. But this is just Cam being Cam, and you want to know why the Carolina Panthers have success. It's because of that number 1, that Cam Newton. If he's having fun and he's excited out there, they're a hard team to face week in and week out.
First 3rd down conversion of the game for Carolina. Fakes the handoff to McCaffrey into the end zone. One-handed no. Could not hold on. That was Funchess again. Robert Alford, the man there in coverage. Let's see if he got a hand on it. Nope, he just dropped it, kind of stabbed at it with his hand, Greg. Oh, yeah. Got it in there at the end.
If you're a receiver coach, Lance Taylor, you're frustrated at that effort because you always want guys to extend with both hands. Especially at the goal line, trying to get a touchdown where execution is at its premium.
Second and goal from the 6-yard line. McCaffrey up the middle, and he's bottled up. Tackle McKinley, the first guy there.
Last week they had a drive on the Cowboys defense, and they got deep into the red zone, and McCaffrey coughed it up. You kind of wonder, isn't this why C.J. Anderson is on your roster? A bigger guy, more physical guy who can kind of punch it in from the 5 going in.
See the numbers there for McCaffrey as the 13th play of the drive is coming up. They wanted to run him more in between the tackles. You get a look there at C.J. Anderson, maybe wondering why he's not in the ball game. Cam working out of the shotgun here on 3rd down. Newton with time, over the middle, touchdown, Jarius Wright.
Jarius Wright right here on your screen. He's just going to run a little simple sit pattern where he just sits pretty much over the ball. He's going to split those safeties. Cam Newton spots him. He also had, again, Christian McCaffrey on this left-hand side doing the same thing out of the backfield. A very, very simple play, but it's all about the execution, and they were able to execute.
Just found a hole in that defense, wide open there. Looks like Ryan Poole might have been a little late getting over. As Graham Gano's extra point is up and good. Cam still fired up. And then, as he is one to do, giving away the football and the wristband. There's a look at Cam Newton. Pretty nice scoring drive right there. 13 plays, 70 yards, eating up almost 6.5 minutes of clock. He leaves the game after taking that hit from DeMonte Casey, who was tossed out of the game. And you can see how fired up he was going off the field. He comes back and he answers with his first touchdown pass of the game. No chance to return that one for Calvin Ridley. As Matt Ryan and this Falcons offense comes back out trying to find the end zone for the first time today.
Yeah, Dan, one has to wonder with the loss of Neal and Deion Jones specifically on that last touchdown play, how much they are and will be missed because of their smarts, because of them understanding where to be and when to be there.
Hey, let's go. Hey, chopper! Chopper! Wait,
Ryan calling the audible. And that audible is a Tevin Coleman run that picks up 3.
Tevin Coleman.
K'Wan short. Wes Horton there on the tackle. What a game last week for K'Wan. Picks up a couple of sacks. They had 6 in all against the Cowboys. Pro Bowler back in 2015. Wore a shirt after the game that said GX2. I asked him what that stood for. He said, getting to the spot, the quarterback. And he certainly did that against the Cowboys. 2nd and 7 for Matt. Under pressure again, dumps it off to Coleman. Coleman slips Kuechly, Johnny on the spot. So that's going to be a loss of 2. Sorry, Greg, go ahead.
You got to love Kuechly. He's so fired up. He's right where he needs to be at all times. He's never late. He's always there. You got him here on the screen. He's just going to watch Tevin Coleman the whole time. Same responsibility that we saw Christian McCaffrey. He's going to watch and see if anyone comes. If they don't come, he can release. Matt Ryan hits him, but Luke Kuechly is there to cover him up.
3rd and 9. Flags come flying. He was looking for Ridley. Ridley falls down. It was Dante Jackson in coverage. Ron Rivera not really liking that call there. Let's see exactly what happened.
Pass interference. Defense number 20. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
Take it.
This is interesting because that looked and appeared to be pretty incidental contact.
Sure did.
But anytime a receiver goes down, they're typically going to get the benefit of the doubt on getting that defensive pass interference call.
Bill Vinovich called it on 20, then corrected himself. It was indeed Dante Jackson. So 1st and 10 for Ryan. He's letting it fly. Trying again to connect with Julio. James Bradbury was with him step for step.
Now, I mentioned this matchup earlier. James Bradbury, up to this point, that's 5 targets for Julio Jones, 2 receptions for 16 yards. they like this matchup. I'm talking to the defensive guys, Luke Kuechly being one of them. They feel like, again, if they can get home, they can put pressure on Matt Ryan. Their secondary, James Bradbury, Julio Jones, they can rely on him to match up one-on-one.
Coleman cuts it back inside, out past the 50, has some room down the right sideline. Ball loose as he is chased down by Dante Jackson. You could see the speed from the rookie there. A 36-yard gain for Tevin Coleman.
What a move in the hole from Tevin Coleman here. He simply showed us and shows us why he's so special. The simple cutback, the juke move on the defensive back there allows him to break free. But again, Dante Jackson, what a hustle. And there's that speed. He caught him from behind.
Originally misses the tackle, goes on to catch him, potentially saving the touchdown. Ito Smith giving Coleman a breather here. That pass complete to Julio. Picks up 7. And they're going to get right back on the line of scrimmage.
They've been going with a lot of 2 tight end sets all afternoon.
Austin Hooper and Logan Paulson. This again, Ito Smith. Stiff arms Luke Kuechly and picks up the first down. Ito Smith, the rookie out of Southern Miss, had a tremendous career there. Picked in the 4th round of this year's draft. And some think that he could potentially be a replacement for Tevin Coleman, who's playing in a contract year. You can't afford to pay 2 running backs, and somebody may eventually pay Tevin Coleman, especially if he's able to showcase himself while Devontae Freeman is out. And Smith again inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, you mentioned something there, Dan. This is a great showing for an opportunity for Ito Smith, because they are not going to be able to retain Tevin Coleman after this year. Talking to some of the Falcons personnel, they understand that. Tevin Coleman understands that. They're not giving up on him, but he's going to be highly sought after come this offseason.
Ryan changing the play, telling the rookie the information. And that's who they give it to, but there were a wall of Panthers there. Addison, Kuechly, and Short all in on the tackle.
Yeah, when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, specifically in this red zone area, this is where all the worry and concern start to come.
Red zone struggles in 2017, and then red zone struggles in the season opener. Matt Ryan just 1 of 9. No touchdown passes and a pick in the red zone, and you can see he did not connect with Julio Jones at all. 3rd and 8. Ryan, red zone, touchdown Falcons. That's Calvin Ridley, his first NFL TD.
What a route by Calvin Ridley, the rookie out of Alabama, to get his first National Football League touchdown reception. Here you see him here on Dante Jackson, and he just runs a perfectly executed slant route, and Matt Ryan puts the ball on the money. Matt Ryan talked about, look guys, let it go. Let all the chatter be the chatter. We just have to execute when we're in the red zone, and you see them do it there.
To a man, from Sark to Dan Quinn to Matt Ryan, they said we have to trust the process. We've been working on the red zone all offseason, all preseason, and finally, in week number 2, it's paying dividends. So Calvin Ridley doesn't have a catch in his first NFL game. Already 2 catches, including his first NFL touchdown catch for the rookie out of Alabama. Certainly high expectations for that young man. And you are looking at another rookie receiver and a first-round pick, DJ Moore, set to return this kick, and that's going to bounce in the back of the end zone. No return for the Panthers. How about an update on that Falcons defense, Karen Bryant?
Okay, guys, well, Levitri is out. Questionable return for him. That is a left elbow that had actually been taped up before the game anyway. You know, I spoke to Casey before the game today. He was fired up, said, I don't feel like I have to fill Keanu Neal's shoes. I'm going to do what I do best. Well, it turns out, guys, I guess maybe he was a little bit too fired up today. Organization calls him a ball hawk. They were fired up about him, but just too much too soon today.
Thank you, Karen. Wes Schweitzer replacing Levitri at guard. And the Falcons are on offense. Anderson picks up 5.
You know, that last Atlanta Falcons drive was huge in response to the Carolina touchdown. They drive right down the field and they put it in the end zone on simple execution. Just double slants on that touchdown play, and they just executed and got it in the end zone. Great drive for the Falcons.
Panthers trying to answer here on 2nd and 5. And looked like somebody may have jumped. Might have been the tight end, Chris Manhertz.
Full start. Offense number 82. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
And it was indeed the 3rd-year tight end out of Canisius. Carissa Thompson on the game break in LA. What do you have, Carissa?
I think, Dan, let's check in on another NFC South team here. Eagles trailing the Bucs 7-0 when 2nd-year running back Corey Clement takes it in 15 yards out, all tied up at 7. Dan, Greg, and Karen.
Thank you, Carissa. I like that young running back in Philly. We saw what he could do last year in the Super Bowl. I think he's going to be special.
Very special.
McCaffrey alongside Newton in the backfield, and a familiar look there as McCaffrey takes the dump off, and he is stuck but stays on his feet, leaps forward, and picks up the first down. The initial contact made by Jordan Richards, unbelievable, but McCaffrey was able to keep his feet before finally taken down by Derek Shelby.
Looks like Shelby's down. Simple screen there to McCaffrey, and Jordan Richards comes up and stuffs him, slows him up, so one of his D linemen can come and help out and finish the work.
How about that strength from McCaffrey? That's Derek Shelby now sitting up on the field. Welcome back to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Cam on 1st and 10, taking a shot downfield. We knew we were going to see some more of these. It was broken up by Ricardo Allen. Got a hand up there on it. Lucky it wasn't picked off.
Yeah, that was kind of a shot play design. Norv Turner out of that injury timeout. Got to figure, let's take a shot, but Ricardo Allen did a great job of staying on top of Torrey Smith there and almost came down with a special pick.
Allen moving over to free safety from strong safety when Neal went down, got that big offseason contract extension. Newton taking time and taking down Tack McKinley, doing a little dance.
Tack McKinley, a player that they're really high on. He just has a motor that does not stop. Talking to the coaches, he just keeps going. He never stops on the play. He continues his hustle.
Cam Newton sacked once again, this time by Tack McKinley. Welcome back to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We are all knotted at 10 here with 2 minutes to go in the first half. Cam and the Panthers with the ball at their own 30-yard line. With Tack McKinley, second-year defensive end, had a sack against the Eagles and just took Cam down a few moments ago, so that sets up 3rd and 15. And a familiar look as Cam dumps it off to Christian McCaffrey. This time, nothing going as Brian Poole there to make the tackle. Panthers going to be forced to punt. Let's check in one more time with Carissa Thompson in LA.
Thanks, Dan. So Bucks Eagles tied at 7 in Tampa when Ryan Fitzpatrick connects with O.J. Howard for this 75-yard touchdown. Fun fact, it's Fitzpatrick's second 75-yard touchdown of the day. Missed extra point has the Bucks up 13-7. Dan?
Thank you, Carissa. Ryan Fitzpatrick is looking like Aaron Rodgers.
You know, sometimes when you're in that role of backup and you're inserted in, we kind of saw it with Nick Foles, you really have nothing to lose. You're going to eventually go back to your backup situation, and Ryan Fitzpatrick is thriving in that role right now down in Tampa.
Lardy on a pump for the Panthers. Justin Hardy back to return.
Great punt.
Thinks about fielding it at the 14. Ball bounces and downed at about the 15-yard line. A 53-yard punt.
He had a little tussle there.
It's a little bit at the end of the play. Let's check in now with Kurt Menefee for a preview of the Visa halftime. Kurt.
Coming up on the Visa halftime, teams try to avoid seeing double in the loss column as the Chargers take on the Bills. The Texans and Titans fight to avert back-to-back losses, and the Chiefs try to double their wins as they battle the Steelers. It's all coming up next on the Visa halftime. Hey, I was supposed to say that.
The magic of TV, 2 Menefee is always better than 1.
You gotta love it.
How much fun do our guys have in the studio?
They have a blast.
So much fun to watch. Kurt Menefee been doing a wonderful job captaining that ship for years. As Matt Ryan tries to captain this offense to another touchdown with 1:35 to go here in the first half. Tevin Coleman flanking him in the backfield. Coleman trying to find the edge of that defense. Luke Kuechly there after a 4-yard gain. And Greg, you heard what they talked about. They're so strong up the middle of this defense that the Falcons think in order to have success, they have to find the edge. And we've seen Coleman do that a couple of times. They're looking 2nd and 6. Ryan complete. This time it's Ridley again. Ridley with the biggest game of his young career so far. Hit by Denoris Cersei, who was slow getting up. 23-yard gain for Ridley.
You know, I kind of figured after that last scoring drive, they were going to come out and they kind of got things going. And you see it. You see the confidence kind of boiling right now with Matt Ryan and this offense. And in particular, his chemistry is developing with Calvin Ridley.
There's a look at Steve Sarkisian calling the play into Matt Ryan's helmet as they're running their 2-minute offense pretty well here with 45 seconds to go. And have a timeout called. We'll be right back after these messages from State Farm and Pizza Hut. 45 seconds to go, ball on the 47-yard line. The Falcons looking at 2nd and 4. Hooper picks up the first down for the Falcons.
It almost looked like a little bit of a miscommunication there on the routes with Hooper and Ridley. They were both in the same area. You don't see that too often, but They got away with it there. Pick up the first down.
Look at Hooper's numbers. 3 catches for 21 yards. 49 catches last year for the Stanford tight end. Man open. Down to the 20-yard line, Marvin Hall. 30-yard pickup for Hall.
Marvin Hall, one of these young wide receivers that the Falcons are really high on, that can get down the field, can work the middle of the field, can work that slot position. We're just seeing the full arsenal this afternoon with the Falcons offense.
On the 16-yard line, 35 seconds to go. So the Falcons in the red zone once again. Last time they entered this territory, it was a touchdown pass. This pass complete to Ito Smith down to about the 7-yard line. Shaq Thompson on the tackle. Ron Rivera looking on as he has watched Matt Ryan complete 8 straight passes. A lot of people worrying about this Atlanta offense, and there's a reason that Matt Ryan was an MVP quarterback.
It definitely is, and we've seen it this afternoon. And again, he told it to us in the production meeting. We can't worry about what's out there about us as far as our red zone execution. Every game is going to present a different look, a different opportunity. Defenses are going to guess right sometimes, but it's up to us to execute the plays that are called. And I truly believe that them executing on that last drive in the red zone, coming away with 7 points versus a field goal, has given them another energy.
3 wide receivers to the left for Ryan. Looks to the right. Hooper, touchdown Falcons.
You see Matt Ryan, he is fired up because he understands how important it is to put the ball in the end zone and to allow his defense, who have suffered injuries, to play with the lead. On that play right there, you saw Hooper just take the inside release. He has the corner route. He's defended by Shaq Thompson, who typically does a really good job in coverage. He thought he was going to have some outside corner help, but he didn't by Mike Adams. Mike Adams had to come off on Ito Shepard, leak into the flat, which is his responsibility, and he's left alone, and they took advantage of it.
Matt Bryant with the extra point. So they open up the season 1 for 5 in the red zone against the Eagles. I guess the question has been answered, because this afternoon they're 2 for 2 with 2 touchdowns.
They're 2 for 2 with 2 touchdowns. Again, we showed Matt Ryan's stats coming into this game off of last week. He had no touchdown throws. Already in the first half, he has 2. But what I like about what I'm seeing out of Matt Ryan in this offense is they're spreading the ball around to everyone. It's not just Julio Jones heavy. They're getting the ball to Calvin Ridley. We saw Marvin Hall get the ball on that drive, and then we capped it off with Austin Hooper with the touchdown catch. I like the mix-up of run and pass, as Dan Quinn wanted to involve everyone this week against this Carolina Panthers team.
Well, so far they're doing exactly what they told us they wanted to do. They're finding the edge of that Panthers defense. They're spreading the ball around. They're getting the rookie wide receiver Calvin Ridley involved, and they're getting production from Tevin Coleman as DJ Moore returns his first kick of the game out to the 17-yard line. This week on Thursday Night Football, Sam Darnold and the Jets taking on the Browns exclusively on NFL Network. And starting in Week 4, Fox becomes the new network home to Thursday Night Football when the Vikings battle the Rams. That is going to be a good one. 2 of the best teams in the NFC. And that's exactly what we have here. Is Cam Newton back on the field with 16 seconds to go here in the first half.
You know, Dan, a lot has been said about the relationship with Kyle Shanahan and Matt Ryan and Steve Sarkisian and Matt Ryan. But they seem to be on the same page this afternoon. It doesn't seem to be like there's any qualms there.
They're looking pretty good as Cam Newton kind of pitches one out there to Devin Funchess, avoids the sack, picked up about one. So this is going to be the last play of the first half. Look at Ron Rivera as we take a look at the play in the first half, brought to you by Swiffer. And this is the go-ahead touchdown. Ryan to Austin Hooper. Matt Ryan was perfect literally on this drive. 6 of 6 for 81 yards. Caps it with a touchdown pass to Austin Hooper. Hooper having himself a game. 4 catches, 29 yards, and a touchdown so far. And the Panthers trying to figure out exactly what's going on here as they find themselves down by a touchdown to the Falcons, who are 2 of 2 in the red zone. That was today's Game Flow, brought to you by Progressive. Dan Hellie alongside Greg Jennings here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The Falcons on top of the Panthers 17-10. And so far the Falcons basically doing everything they wanted to do going into this game on both sides of the ball, Greg.
They are. They wanted to mix it up. Talking to Dan Quinn and Steve Sarkisian, they wanted to mix it up, run and pass, and they have done just that with Tevin Coleman chunking this stout Carolina Panthers defense for a lot of yardage in that first half.
Tevin Coleman, of course, starting in place of Devontae Freeman on his way to a 100-yard game. And they are batting 1,000 in the red zone, 2 for 2 after their struggles in the opener against the Eagles. Calvin Ridley on the return out past the 30-yard line. Let's check in with Karen Bryant on the sideline.
All right, guys, I just spoke with Coach Quinn. He is a little bit frustrated with the KZ ejection, but he really didn't have great eyes on the play, so he'd have to hold his thoughts on that till after the game, and he could really see what happened there. He did say Levitre is out, though he will not be returning. Before he was questionable with that elbow injury, and he will not be returning. They do continue to plan on spreading the touches around for the second half.
All right, KB, thank you very much. Damontae Kazee, of course, ejected for his hit on Cam Newton in the first half. Cam Newton left the game for a moment, then back in and led the Panthers on their only touchdown drive of the game. Ryan to Julio, and what an incredible adjustment by the Pro Bowler. Take another look at this, Greg.
This was just a spectacular catch by Julio Jones to make the adjustment. Great coverage by James Bradbury, but he never saw the ball, and Julio Jones did. Makes a play, gets up, tries to get extra yardage. Great throw, great catch.
30-yard pickup for Julio.
Here they go again.
And Ryan attacking downfield. The ball just hung up in the air, picked off by Dante Jackson, the rookie out of LSU. So after that tremendous play from Julio Jones, too much air under this one from Ryan, or perhaps a miscommunication.
Julio Jones never sees this ball, Dan. He never sees this ball. You see Matt Ryan, he drops back and he throws it up, understanding that my guy can make a play on it. He was a little frustrated because Austin Hooper allowed his guy to come in and kind of disrupt that throw. You see the look on Matt Ryan's face there. Disgusted.
Yeah, and it looked like that Wes Horton may have actually clipped his arm as he was throwing it.
You know what, in talking to Ron Rivera, he said about Wes Horton, he doesn't get the amount of attention or talk about him that he deserves, but he's a steady, consistent player, and he's always making plays.
Talked about that defensive line being so stout. Not a lot of drop-off from the starters to the backups when they come in. Hand off to the up man, Alex Arma.
You know, and what's frustrating about plays like that is on the stat sheet, that's not going to go down as a missed block for Austin Hooper. It's going to go down as an interception for Matt Ryan, who had a Julio Jones in position to make a play on the ball.
That's a good point, Greg. They're going to catch it in the meeting room, but they're not going to catch it on the stat sheet. You're right, when everybody's looking at that around the country. 2nd and 6. Cam McCaffrey 2 yards shy of the first down. Ricardo Allen driving him out of bounds.
That is Christian McCaffrey's 7th reception, 7 targets, 7th reception. You see Cam counting on him a lot to fill that void in that absence of Greg Olsen.
Absolutely. Greg Olsen has been that security blanket. When healthy, he has been Cam's most targeted receiver each of the last 4 years. McCaffrey this time split out to the top of your screen. Cam trying to find Devin Funchess, but Desmond Trufant was there to break it up.
Trufant is their #1 cover corner, and he just watches the eyes of Devin Funchess. Quite honestly, Devin Funchess, after watching that, he just drops the ball. He has to make that play. That was a perfectly thrown ball by Cam Newton on the back shoulder in a position where only his receiver can come down with it.
Talking about the box score. They're going to mark that as an incomplete pass, not necessarily a drop, but that looked like that was on Funchess. Down by 7, Panthers, Falcons. Back after this. Welcome back to Mercedes-Benz Stadium here in Atlanta, the site of this year's Super Bowl. And the Falcons looking pretty good on the offensive side of the ball. We talked about their red zone woes coming in. Season opener, not so good. Last year, not very good. The first year, under Steve Sarkisian, but much better here. The toss out to Tevin Coleman, taken down right away by Mario Addison. And here's a look at that Falcons offense in just a moment here as we find out what the penalty is from Bill Vinovich.
Holding. Offense number 71. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Penalties on Wes Schweitzer, filling in at left guard for Andy Levitre. Talking about those offensive numbers, first couple of drives, they get a field goal. Last 2 drives, 2 touchdowns, both in the red zone. So 2 for 2 in the red zone today. Steve Sarkisian talking to him before the game, not overly concerned, sticking to the process, something that Dan Quinn told us that they had to do.
Absolutely, and that's been kind of their message to one another all week. Trust the process, and they have done it here today.
Ito Smith in motion for the Falcons on 2nd and 16. Coleman taken out of bounds by James Bradbury. Carissa Thompson, game break. What do you have?
Thanks, Dan. Browns leading 6-3 in New Orleans. Carlos Hyde takes it in for a 1-yard score after a missed extra point. The Browns up 12-3. And Dan, I know you know this, the Browns' last win, Week 16, 2016.
So it's just a building process for the Browns, apparently. You get a tie after an 0-16 season, and then maybe you get the win. Big news for the Browns, obviously, with the potential release of Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
That one's complete. Calvin Ridley doing it again. Down to the 37-yard line.
I like this Calvin Ridley kid. They're really high on him. Julio Jones praised him, talked about how he practices, his ability to do it all, and you see it there, catching the ball and making plays after the ball is in his hands.
How about Mohamed Sanu's block on Kuechly?
That's a big-time block. I know Mohamed Sanu's a bigger guy, but Kuechly's a man-child now.
That he is. The rookie, Ito Smith. Eluding a couple of tackles, has some space inside the 25. What a nifty little run before he's finally dragged down by Mike Adams. Lee Kuechly misses a tackle.
This is all about seizing the moment, and what a block by 71, Wes Schwitzer. Just filling in for Levitre, comes up with a big block, opens the hole for Ito Smith, and nifty footwork, as you mentioned, by the young rookie to pick up another first down for the Falcons.
Pride of Southern Miss. Southern Miss, of course, where Brett Favre went to college. And how about a little more? Ito picking up the first down all the way down to the 6-yard line. A 13-yard gain, then an 18-yard gain on this run.
You know, you watch this play and you see the run immediately, but what a big block by number 14, Justin Hardy, to pin down the defensive end so that Ito Smith could get the edge on that play.
Trying to get to the end zone is Coleman. He's going to be a yard short. Rashawn Golden, the rookie out of Tennessee, saved the touchdown. See the rushing numbers there. Remember, they're playing this game without starting running back Devontae Freeman. Matt Bryant puts his head down. Quarterback sneak. Looks like he's in. And there's no ruling just yet. You can see Julio Jones on the field signaling touchdown. And they finally give it to him. There's another look at it there. Took Bill Vinovich and the guys to decide if he was actually in. But indeed he is.
I'm always impressed with how delayed a touchdown can be signaled. It's like you wait, just to make sure, make certain.
Well, for you, as a wide receiver, you were either in or you weren't. You very seldom were under that massive humanity with 10 dudes piled on top of you.
Of course.
Matt Bryant, the ageless wonder, on for the extra points. Bosher to hold. Josh Harris, the snapper. 24-10. Matt Bryant's Falcons finding the end zone, due in part to the rookie running back Ito Smith. That is Southern Miss. There's a look at Matt Ryan talking to his guys on offense. Another successful scoring drive for the Falcons. 6 plays, 58 yards, almost 3.5 minutes. Ryan with the quarterback sneak after rookie running back Ito Smith chips in 31 yards on the drive. Ito Smith, by the way, named after Judge Lance Ito from the O.J. Simpson trial. I don't know if you knew that, Greg, but they thought he looked like him when he was a youngster, so it stuck. He's been Ito Smith ever since then, as that ball bounces into the end zone, and Cam Newton and company will be back out on the field. Families affected by Hurricane Florence urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to these families. Just donate today by going to redcross.org or text Florence to 90999 to give $10 to American Red Cross Hurricane Relief. Let's see if the Panthers offense can answer here. Their only touchdown of the day coming on the drive that Cam Newton got knocked out of the game. You see a look at the total yardage there. Atlanta up to 304 after that last drive. Newton with time. Again, dumps it off to McCaffrey. McCaffrey going to be 2 yards shy of the first down. Duke Riley making the tackle.
You know, Dan, I know we're calling Christian McCaffrey's name a lot, but when you just think about a quarterback's mental psyche when he's throwing to his #1 receiver and he's dropping the ball the way that Devin Funchess has dropped the ball today, it has to play a role in Cam Newton's mind of trust and going with who he trusts, and he trusts McCaffrey out of the backfield.
This time the give to McCaffrey, going to pick up the first down. We've seen what McCaffrey can do as a receiver. 80 catches as a rookie coming out of Stanford. Had a 2,000-yard rushing season. Was really spectacular on the college level. Added a couple of pounds of muscle in the offseason. Really chiseled at 5'11", 205 pounds. McCaffrey been putting a lot of work in the weight room.
Really is. Dad, Ed McCaffrey, big-time receiver for a long time with the Denver Broncos.
Very athletic family. His father also an athlete on the collegiate level. And that's going to be another first down for the Panthers. Jarius Wright making the catch and picking up 16.
You know, sometimes it's the little things. On that play there, the reason Jarius Wright is able to come open is because of the effort of Ian Thompson getting down the field, getting that linebacker out of the middle of the field so that Jarius Wright could have the middle of the field to work with.
Cam chased out of the pocket, gives a stiff arm. There's a flag in the backfield. Devondre Campbell finally pushed Cam out of bounds.
Tack McKinley just grabbing the flag and waving it.
Holding. Offense number 73. 10-yard penalty. 15-second down.
You can see Brian Poole, the cornerback, is down. Here's another look at the hold on Tack. He definitely had him there.
Anytime you break outside of that framework as a defender of the offensive lineman, it's an easy call for the ref.
It's interesting because he didn't have his hands all the way out. They were kind of inside, but he just didn't let go. And the ref could obviously see that it was a hold. 24-10. Falcons still on top.
Here's a play where Brian Poole was injured. You see the stiff arm by Cam Newton. Not sure exactly what happened there to Brian Poole as we see him on the sideline. It doesn't look like he's out for too long.
Bleeding Ray Wilson, former Tennessee Titan, checking in the game. Poole, as Cam shakes off the pressure, and it was nearly picked off by the aforementioned Bleeding Ray Wilson. Torrey Smith, a veteran play there to make sure that Wilson didn't get the pick.
The pressure by, again, Tack McKinley just hustling, but Torrey Smith, what a great job of turning into a defensive back and knocking that ball down. What would have easily been an interception by the Falcons.
Look at the numbers there for Cam. Hit 6 times, hurried 10 times. Working with an empty backfield here. Again, McCaffrey has to go kind of low to make the catch, but he does before he's taken out of bounds by Devondre Campbell. Another game break with Carissa Thompson in LA. Carissa?
Thanks, Dan. So Bucks up 20-7 on the defending champs when Ryan Fitzpatrick finds Mike Evans for this 4-yard touchdown. Fitzpatrick with 4 touchdown passes now in back-to-back games. Bucks rolling 27-7. Dan?
Is this a crazy division or what?
This is a crazy division, but I don't know if Jameis Winston comes back to a job security situation there.
Yeah, that's a great point. Dirk Cutter didn't guarantee anything during the preseason. 3rd and 14 for Cam. That pass is complete. Not going to be enough for the first down. First catch of the game for Ian Thomas, the tight end who is replacing Greg Olsen.
I was wondering when we were going to see Cam Newton trust one of these young tight ends in replacement of the Greg Olsen, and we see it there, but they weren't able to convert the 3rd down. But at some point, you got to keep the defense honest. You got to go to these tight ends. You got to force the issue a little bit to spread the ball around somewhere else other than McCaffrey.
Justin Hardy initially waves everybody off, then calls the fair catch after the 38-yard punt. A frustrated Cam Newton as nothing's going for the Panthers. Look at Panthers' new defensive coordinator, Eric Washington. He's been the defensive line coach in Carolina for the past 7 seasons. Replaced Steve Wilkes as DC, who is the new head coach in Arizona. Wilkes replaced Sean McDermott, who's been in Buffalo for 2 years. So it's the 3rd new defensive coordinator for the Panthers in 3 years.
Hey, Greg.
Coleman cutting up the middle. Out to the 29-yard line before he's tripped up by Mike Adams. A 19-yard gain for Tevin Coleman.
They're just continuing to run behind these two offensive linemen, Matthews and Switzer. And Coleman is just running through gaping holes that you're not typically accustomed to seeing given up by this Carolina defensive line and defense as a whole.
A very impressive game so far from Tevin Coleman in this Falcons running game. I don't know that we can say it enough. Devontae Freeman not here because of a knee injury, and Tevin Coleman filling in great. 9 carries, 96 yards so far, and Carolina has been so good against the run the last few seasons. They haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in 21 straight games. So Coleman is knocking on the door to become the first rusher to go for over 100 against Carolina since Thomas Rawls in December of 2016. The pitch out to Coleman, and that's going to put him over 100.
I mean, when you look at what is transpiring in this run game and with this Carolina Panthers run defense, it's not so much the amount of yardage that they're giving up, it's how much they're giving up at once in chunk yardage. I mean, we just saw the statistic. He's averaging over 10 yards a carry.
I'm not sure, Greg, is that good?
Yeah, I don't think that's too good.
It's good if you're Tevin Coleman. That was Calvin Ridley picking up a couple. Let's send it down to KB with more on Carolina's defense.
All right, guys, thanks so much. You know, moments ago you talked about defensive coordinator Eric Washington. I saw him huddle up his defense. Looks to me like he's trying to set the reset button on them, trying to get them fired up, because to be honest with you right now, the body language over here is not so great. Obviously, the defense is out there right now, and we'll see if that reset button works.
Thank you, Karen. 1st and 10 on the 40 for the Falcons. Ryan Julio down to the 47.
This is just an over route by Julio Jones. One-on-one coverage. Matt Ryan puts it where only his receiver can make a play on it. And right now, what I'm watching is an Atlanta Falcons offense that is just clicking on all cylinders. Everything is at their disposal, and it starts with the run game.
Another first down. Ito Smith picks up 2. The rookie out of Southern Miss, a very important cog in that scoring drive. When Matt Ryan snuck in for the touchdown. Here's a look at the numbers as a team. Ito Smith and Tevin Coleman obviously getting the bulk of those carries. 23 for 147. You mentioned Coleman averaging 10 yards per carry. As a team, 6.4.
Yeah, that's putting you ahead of the chains every single down. That's winning football.
Ryan has his pass dropped by the rookie Ridley.
Yeah, you see there on that play, Ridley, it's so great once he gets the ball in his hands. He's already thinking about this run after the catch. You saw him throw his little arm around like, I'm thinking I'm going to wrap around Luke Kuechly. Well, you got to kind of catch the ball before you start running, young man.
I know that never happened to you, but you probably saw it happen to some of your teammates every now and then.
Yeah, it happened more than I would like to admit.
Third down for Ryan, dumps it off to Coleman. Coleman going to be cooped up about 2 to 3 yards shy of the first down after the 5-yard gain. Luke Kuechly, first man there. Really interesting to see what's going to happen with Tevin Coleman after this season. A guy like Jerick McKinnon, who wasn't a full-time back before Dalvin Cook was injured in Minnesota, parlays that chance to showcase himself into a contract that made him one of the top 5 highest paid running backs in the league.
Yeah, one of the reasons why he was able to do that was because of his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield and get on the edges, but also run the ball in between the tackles. And that's what Tevin Coleman provides for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, he's been doing a nice job today. 100 yards on the ground. We have a couple of huge college football games Saturday on Fox. First, it's TCU taking on their in-state rival Texas, followed by Wisconsin battling Iowa in a Big Ten showdown. All of them on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Cam back out here, had a pass complete, his first one to his rookie tight end out of Indiana. Ian Thomas was short of the first down, but you talked about trust. Maybe one of the reasons that he has been dumping it off to McCaffrey so often. And here is the second-year running back out of Stanford spinning his way to a first down in a 12-yard gain.
It's just great second effort running by McCaffrey here. The play could have been stopped right there, but he just bounces off. You talked about the leg strength, the ability to be explosive. He has it all. He's a total package.
Here's a look at McCaffrey again. It almost seemed like Cam kind of wanted to pull it out, but McCaffrey clamped down on it too quickly. Christian said last week there were a couple of design runs that he was supposed to get, but on the read option, Cam decided to pull it out himself, so McCaffrey probably should have had a few more touches last week.
Absolutely. Norv Turner was mentioning that last night in our production meeting. There were about 5 to 6 runs that Cam Newton probably, that he would have liked to see Cam hand the ball off to either CJ or Christian McCaffrey.
Cam lucky that one wasn't picked off. Desmond Trufant couldn't hold on to it. Brian Poole, the man coming in to pressure Cam again. This cornerback blitz has been working well for the Panthers.
Yeah, I don't know what quite happened there. I mean, just from the look of it, Cam just overshot his receiver. But he's clearly frustrated, Dan. I mean, these receivers, specifically Devin Funches, has had his share of drops, and it's wearing down on Cam.
Cam fires that one in there, and that is caught for the first down. Jarius Wright hauling it in. Check this out, the velocity on this throw.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what, as a receiver, when you get a guy that throws that hard, you got to brace yourself sometimes with those heaters.
After trading field goals in the first quarter, it has basically been all Falcons from there on out, outscoring the Panthers 21-7 in the second and third quarters. That being said, as we get set to start the fourth quarter here, this is a huge drive for Cam Newton and the Panthers. If they can just get something on the board, doesn't have to be a touchdown, could be a field goal. Perhaps that could be the momentum swing they're looking for, as Christian McCaffrey catches another one. 10 catches on 10 targets for McCaffrey. I guess if they could just keep him somewhat bottled up and not let him break the big one, they're going to be perfectly content letting Norv Turner's offense have Christian McCaffrey catching 10 balls when he's averaging just under 7 yards per catch.
Break, Marshall.
Cam on 2nd and 7, trying to squeeze it in there to Torrey Smith. That was Robert Alford in coverage. There's a flag in the vicinity.
Pass interference. Defense number 23. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
It must have been earlier because I didn't see it there.
Yeah, it looks like there was a little jersey tug there. For me as a receiver, it seems sometimes that it's ticky-tack, but you see that little tug with that left hand. It impedes your ability to continue running through your route, slows you down drastically, and it just changes the result of what could have been a first down for the Carolina Panthers.
You know what you sound like right now?
A receiver.
Oh, nice catch over the middle, Jarius Wright. They really love what the former Viking brings to the table, not only on the field, Greg, but in the meeting room. Norv Turner actually told us he's a lot like you were when you were in Minnesota to Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, when you look at Jarius Wright and what he provides, he's steady. He's steady. He's not one that's going to put the ball on the ground too often. He's going to understand his assignment, his role, and he's going to execute when his number is called, and that's what they got right there out of him.
Nice catch and coverage from Wright. Kind of an interesting look there from Cam, almost a delayed design run. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee for a game break. Kurt?
Well, Green Bay's led comfortably most of the day against Minnesota. The Vikings pull it a little bit closer. Kirk Cousins to Stephon Diggs' 3-yard score. The Lambeau Leap, not if you're the visitor. 2014 Packers still on top of the fourth. Dan, Greg, and Karen.
Thanks, Kurt. Take a look at this. What was going on here, Greg?
Yeah, well, you're going to see, it's a design run, and you're going to see Christian McCaffrey picks up a key block there to give Cam just the edge to run on there as he drops back and he throws. Oh!
That was the rookie Ian Thomas in and out of his hands.
And this is the trust that I'm talking about. When you have a young rookie tight end that is filling in the shoes of a savvy veteran, an all-pro who's done it his entire career, specifically in the red zone for Cam Newton, making that play is a must to develop a rapport and a trust in your quarterback to tell him, you can count on me.
Well, the rookie's still in there. Perhaps he gets another shot on 2nd and 10. The red zone area, definitely where they miss Greg Olsen. This time it's caught short of the first down by Funchess.
You know, that on that play there, it's something small, that a lot of novice fans or viewers aren't going to pick up on, but you see how Devin Funchess just went down to the ground and allowed the ball to come to him. You run back to that ball, you give yourself an opportunity to still run with the ball after you've secured the catch. But you allow the ball to just come to you, the defender's coming to you as well, so there's no chance for run after the catch.
Robert Alford getting the crowd pumped up here. Just over 12 minutes to go in the game. 3rd and 4 for Cam. That's complete, and that's Ian Thomas making amends after dropping that touchdown pass.
Here we go, big fella. This is huge. It's just a simple out route, little stick route, reverse pivot. He is where he needs to be. He makes the catch. Big time pickup right there by the Carolina Panthers. Give themselves a fresh set of downs here, 1st and goal.
Ian Thomas, raw, athletic, and gifted. Cam Newton told us that he's going to be really good, hopefully as soon as Sunday.
Cam likes to keep it.
Zips it in there, and that's a touchdown. Torrey Smith hangs on to this one.
Execution in the red zone.
I tell you, he is throwing some heaters out there to the wide receivers.
That's a great catch by Torrey Smith. I was talking to Torrey Smith yesterday. As you see him here, runs a simple post pattern. Cam just lasers it in there. But I was talking to him yesterday about the heat that Cam Newton throws with, and he said, I trained with him a couple years ago. And a couple years ago, he threw so hard. Had he came down here a couple years ago, I don't know if I would be so sure to want to catch that ball, but he's taking some off of it. Didn't look like he took much off that ball right there.
Yeah, if he's taking something off of it, I would hate to see what he was doing a couple of years ago. So the Panthers right back in this ball game. Cam Newton firing the heater in there to the former Terp, Torrey Smith. And we have a ball game here in Atlanta. Cam Newton talking to his quarterback's coach, Scott Turner, after an 11-play, 80-yard drive that was consummated by a 3-yard touchdown pass to Torrey Smith. They had 5 different receivers on that drive. Really got everybody involved in offense, including the rookie tight end Ian Thomas, who is Greg Olson's replacement. Thomas dropped a beautiful short touchdown catch and then made up for it by making a 1st down catch thereafter. So it is a 1-score game. Atlanta needs to run the ball here to eat up some clock, and if what they've done so far is any indication, I'd say they're in good shape, Greg.
Yeah, they're definitely in good shape, but you don't want to get so caught up and consumed with the run to where you forget that you still have been effective in the passing game as well. And I think Steve Sarkisian understands that. If there's a lot of time left. Yes, do you want to run the ball and take time off the clock? Yes, but you have to get 1st downs. As they get the Carolina Panthers to jump a free play, just throw it up to Julio Jones. You would like to see Matt Ryan give him a chance with the ball in bounds as Julio stares like, come on.
Well, to your point.
Defense number 96. 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
That's Wes Horton jumping. To your point, as good as the running game's been, Matt Ryan in the passing game have been almost as good. He's 18 of 23 for 204 yards and a couple of touchdown passes.
Yeah, he's been spreading the ball around very well. The receivers have been great, getting a lot of separation. As we see them with the fullback in right now, Ricky Ortiz. Great play call.
Mohamed Sanu easily picks up the 1st down for the Falcons. It's a 12-yard gain.
This is just a great play call. You're going to see right here, Mohamed Sanu just slide on the keep. You load up one side, force the defense to commit to pursue the run, slip your receiver underneath with a keep right. Easy pickings right there for Matt Ryan.
First catch of the game for Mohamed Sanu. Wes Horton taking down Tevin Coleman, who continues to rack up the yards on the ground.
5-yard chunk plays right there. That's, the Carolina, I'm almost at a loss for words at what to even say, because with their defense, they're predicated on stopping the run, and they just have not been able to do that with this Atlanta Falcons run game.
109 yards for Coleman, one away from his career high. And wide open, Austin Hooper takes it down to the 22-yard line. This is not the Carolina Panthers defense that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, this is simple. This is simple. You got Marvin Hall, who's going to clear it out. Austin Hooper's going to run a little banana route, a corner, if you will, and it's wide open. No one's there. You can't have these type of letdowns when your offense has come away with a big score to get you back in the game, and you really rely on your defense to get a big stop to give us another opportunity to put points on the board as an offense for Carolina.
Down to the 23-yard line. Ryan back to pass. This time it's his other tight end, Logan Paulson. First catch of the game for Paulson. Check this out. The yards per play for the Falcons, 8.2, just 4.8 for Carolina.
Like, understand, let's put some context behind this. That's almost a first down every snap. That's 2 yards shy of a first down every snap. Talk about playing on your heels as a defense. You can't win games when you're giving up 8 yards of play.
Ito Smith keeping his feet, fighting to get down to the 5-yard line. Luke Kuechly with another missed tackle. That's at least the third time we have said that this afternoon.
This is just Steve Sarkisian as they run back up to the line.
Smith puts the ball on the ground. Falcons recover. Looks like Mario Addison was the man that popped it loose. Lucky break there for the Falcons, but they were able to jump on that.
Ball just comes out. Poor ball security there by Ito Smith, the young rookie. But they're keeping him in there. This is where Dan Quinn shows his trust in trusting the process and trusting his young guys. Keeping him in there after what could have been a potential disastrous fumble.
Ryan with time. Decides to keep it himself, jumps up and gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Matt Ryan. Initially stopped, keeps moving forward, and Ryan using his feet.
Dan, you think Matt Ryan isn't thinking about scoring in the red zone? You think that's not on his mind? Of course it is.
There was no sliding here. Like that famous John Elway helicopter play. Didn't spin all the way around, but he spins into the end zone for the score. His second rushing touchdown today.
What a job by Matt Ryan to hold on to that ball, knowing that he was going to take a big hit, exposing himself, but selling out for the team. Being a leader and letting his guys know that I'm going to do whatever it takes to stick the ball in the end zone when we're down here.
2 touchdown passes, 2 touchdown runs for Matt Ryan. I must admit, I did not expect Matt Ryan to go airborne. Might have made the sideline cringe, but boy, did they like the results. You want red zone success, Atlanta Falcons fans? How about 4 for 4 in the red zone today? Matt Ryan running in for the latest score, an 8-yard touchdown run. for DJ Moore on the return. Let's take another look at that Matt Ryan touchdown run, doing his best Cam Newton impersonation here, trying to dive into the end zone. 2 rushing touchdowns in the game for Matt Ryan. Not only is that a career high in a game, he's never had more than 2 rushing touchdowns in an entire season before.
Dan, it means something to him. It means something to him, and he understands it starts with me. It starts with my production as a quarterback, making sure I put it on me first.
Just over 7 minutes for Cam Newton and the Panthers. C.J. Anderson, unlike McCaffrey, unable to hang on to that one. Anderson, no stranger to catching the ball, coming into the season with 103 catches. Look at the numbers there for Cam. He has not been helped out by his receivers at points during this game. At least 3 drops that I can remember. That one caught by Smith as he stiff arms Desmond Trufant out to around the 50-yard line. Pickup of 26 for Smith. Game break time with Kurt Menefee.
Well, we showed you a touchdown pass from Kirk Cousins to Stephon Diggs. It was a couple of yards. How about a bigger one? 75 yards through the air just like that. They're right back in the game. 23-21, 6 minutes left to go at Lambeau. Dan, Greg, and Karen.
Thank you, Kurt. Flag already down on the field. Potentially a free play for Newton. Devin Funchess on the catch.
Not sure what this flag is going to be, but that was a great job by Cam Newton.
Offside. Defense number 44. Penalties decline. Result of the play.
Vic Beasley with the offsides penalty there, but that was a great job by Cam Newton, keeping his eyes downfield, almost selling the defender to go deep as his receiver pulls up and comes up with an easy reception.
27-yard freebie for Cam. We haven't seen Christian McCaffrey on this drive, which is interesting. Picked off by the Falcons off the hands of C.J. Anderson. Ricardo Allen making him pay. Jarius Wright finally drags him down at the 47.
Right on cue. Christian McCaffrey on the sideline.
That will be a question that will be asked. Huge interception by Ricardo Allen. So there's a look at Christian McCaffrey talking to Cam Newton. It looks like he's saying, I told him I was good to go. He was standing on the sideline next to the coaches. C.J. Anderson was in the game for him, dropped a pass, and then had another one bounce off his hands into the waiting arms of Ricardo Allen, who made the interception, and then a nice return. Tevin Coleman picking up about 4. Here's another look at the interception.
This is just demoralizing when you're driving the ball down, you're approaching the red zone, not in the red zone already, and a simple dink and dunk throw to your check down, and it just comes right off the hands and helmet, pops up in the air, and Falcons make a play.
Coleman now sitting on 113 yards. That's a career high. He's going to lose about 4 or 5 as he's escorted out of bounds by Mario Addison.
But coming into this game, Dan, the storylines on both sides. One side, we're talking about the offensive line. Will they be able to hold up with the patchwork job that they have pieced guys together? And then the other being the secondary and linebacker play. neither have really done a bad job. Carolina Panthers have given up 2 sacks, but the Falcons secondary and their defense have done a great job filling in for these marquee players that are down.
Ryan complete to Sanu. And that's not going to be enough. DJ Moore going to be back deep to return the Bosher kick. And the Panthers have some work to do with 4:26 and counting.
It's all about field position now for the Falcons. If you're not going to convert third downs, pin them back deep, allow your defense to continue to put the pressure on the Panthers offense to score the football.
That one bounce. And that's a pretty good punt. Going to roll down just inside the 5-yard line. 42-yard kick. This week on Thursday Night Football, Sam Darnold and the Jets taking on the Browns exclusively on NFL Network. And then starting in week 4, Fox becomes the new network home to Thursday Night Football when the Vikings battle the Rams. Cam Newton taking over with the ball on his own 4-yard line, so they're going to need their longest drive of the day. They hope to score a touchdown. Newton with a couple of touchdown passes and 197 passing yards. McCaffrey back in the ball game. Gets down to the 9-yard line. Talked about the Browns on Thursday Night Football. Let's check in on what they are doing today, Carissa Thompson.
No, let's talk about that. They were down by 6, late 4th quarter, 4th down. Tyrod Taylor airs this one out, 47-yard touchdown pass to rookie Antonio Callaway. So we're all tied up at 18, but then the missed field goal. Saints driving right now in field goal territory. Dan?
Carissa, thank you. Pass complete to McCaffrey, dragged down by Devondre Campbell after he picks up the first down. It's almost not even fair to say, but they missed the extra point. Tough break for the Browns.
It really is. I mean, part of me roots for the Browns just to get that first win, especially watching Hard Knocks and how hard they've been working.
We'll be right back after these messages from Izod. Just over 3:30 to go in the game here. Ball on the 16-yard line for the Panthers. Complete down to the 39 to Jarius Wright.
And you got to think they're going to be in a red ball situation here. But again, that play doesn't happen if Ian Thompson doesn't run straight through the middle, getting Duke Riley to open up and run, creating that space as he hits McCaffrey again.
And McCaffrey with that second effort, I believe, picked up the first down. So for McCaffrey, he now has 13 catches. That's a career high for 92 yards. Previous career high 10 against the Eagles last year. That ball again complete. This time to the rookie. DJ Moore has some room. DJ Moore, touchdown Panthers. 51-yard score for the Rook.
You know, Dan, I was just about to say the Panthers kind of need to hurry up and put the ball in the end zone if they want to have a chance to get this ball back with what the Atlanta Falcons has been able to do to their defense offensively. But you're going to see DJ Moore here. He's just going to run a big end cut from the slot position. Wide open, it's the zone. This is what I do not like about defenses when you are playing with the lead in the 4th quarter. you tend to go away from what you've been doing all game. And you allow the opposing team to then apply pressure on you versus you keeping the pressure applied to them.
The first career catch for the first-round pick out of Maryland, a 51-yard touchdown to put the Panthers back in this game. Talking to Torrey Smith, also a Maryland alum, before the game, I said, tell me about the young fella. Tell me about DJ Moore. He said he's going to be really good. He's one of the best that I've played with. And he's been with him for what, 4 months?
That's still some high praise. That's Torrey Smith, who's played with a few good ones.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Torrey Smith, of course, Super Bowl champ with the Baltimore Ravens. Won a Super Bowl last year in Philadelphia. Provides a lot of leadership in that wide receiver room, along with Jarius Wright. Known for his speed. And he's certainly done a really nice job of helping mentor DJ Moore here with the Panthers. So what do you say, Greg? We try an onside kick here?
You know, Ron Rivera, knowing him, he trusts his defense. He trusts his defense. They've given up a lot of yardage, but he believes that his defense is a lot better than what we've seen and what they've showcased these 4 quarters thus far, and that's what we see here. Kick it deep.
You're absolutely right.
Force them to drive the length of the field.
3 timeouts left for both teams. They're going to have the 2-minute warning as well.
Yeah, an onside kick right there. You gotta weigh a lot of things into it. You're potentially giving them the ball at midfield, short field. They can end up with an easy field goal, kicking it back, letting them get the ball on 25-yard line. Now the advantage is kind of in your favor when it comes to field position.
Coleman tripped up right away in the backfield by K1 Short. And that's exactly what the Panthers were hoping for. Make that tackle in the backfield. Set up 2nd and 10. 31-24, one-score ball game right now. The Panthers defense hasn't been the Panthers defense we've been used to seeing, but perhaps they can make amends here with a big stop and give Cam Newton that offensive chance.
Well, they have no other option here. They have to come up with the stop to give their offensive chance to put the ball in the end zone. I just don't know if they have enough. They haven't shown the ability to stop this offense running the ball or throwing the ball in the air.
This time Ryan going to the air, but he is finding his running back Tevin Coleman once again. Gets his helmet ripped off by David Mayo after a 9-yard gain, so it looks like he's going to be just shy of the first down. Timeout's called by the Panthers, so they have 1 timeout left and the 2-minute warning.
Carolina, 30-second timeout.
It's a huge 3rd down play for Ron Rivera and his defense.
Got a few options here. 3rd and 1. Playbook's wide open. Ideally, you want the clock to run in case you don't convert. So it's 3rd and 1. You can run the ball. We've seen them run the little keep with the slide underneath, the slip slide underneath by Mohamed Sanu. We've seen them do it with Austin Hooper.
They have a fullback, Ricky Ortiz, in the game. Just 1 wide receiver. Tevin Coleman, the running back. And Tevin's going to be really close. Shaq Thompson in on the tackle. All depends on the spot. You can see Coleman push the ball forward.
Looks like they're signaling 4th down.
And it is indeed going to be 4th down. Panthers right back in it. So the Falcons set to punt as we have 2 minutes left on the clock for Cam Newton to try and work his magic. Dan Quinn's defense going to try and remain stout despite the fact they are without their two best players who are out for the year. DJ Moore fields the punt, and he is tripped up at the 16-yard line, a 54-yard kick by Bosher. 1:48 left on the clock for Cam Newton. The Atlanta native, just 2-5 here in his hometown. Grew up in South Atlanta, College Park neighborhood, went to Westlake High School. Hasn't had a ton of success here with that 2-5 record, but he has a chance to make everybody forget about that. Down by 7. 1:48 on the clock. McCaffrey alongside Newton in the backfield. Newton pressure, decides to keep it himself. Out past the 25 and slides to the 33-yard line. Grady Jarrett had a shot.
That's what makes Cam Newton so special, his ability to tuck it and run with it. He can hurt you both ways.
One timeout left in the game for the Panthers. Newton with plenty of time, finds McCaffrey. McCaffrey out past the first down marker.
You got to get up to the line.
Under a minute to go. Newton, again, feeling the pressure, just gets rid of it. Grady Jarrett, this time, almost had it.
Smart play by Cam Newton. He realizes, I don't know if he saw him or not, but he had Christian McCaffrey out there and just threw it over his head.
You can see Jarrett looked like he wanted intentional grounding called.
You see the left guard there. Van Roden just slips. And Grady, you can't slip when a big guy like that is putting his body weight on you full force.
Gonna get you to bonus coverage with Tampa Bay and Philly here in just a few minutes, but not before this one's over. Four-man rush, pass complete to Torrey Smith, taken down right away by Desmond Trufant.
Great job by Desmond Trufant getting the ball carrier down inbounds to keep the clock running. Great open field tackle.
27 seconds left, one timeout for the Panthers. Cam looking to the far sideline. Devin Funchess trying to keep the feet in bounds. Alford was there. And that's going to move the chains.
Again, as I mentioned before, you get in these situations and you wonder why defensive coordinators, Marquand Manuel being there for the Atlanta Falcons, decide to play softer coverages. It's because you don't want to give up the big play. You figure if we just keep everything underneath and make tackles, we still can win this ball game. As you see him playing off now.
Ball's on the 42. Carolina needs a touchdown. Cam looking deep. Ball tipped off the hands of Torrey Smith. Alford in coverage.
Torrey Smith had an attempt at it, never quite could get his body turned around to put himself in a position to really make a play on that ball. 12 seconds. Time isn't on your side now.
Still have that timeout in their back pocket.
Hey, 59
Over the middle, complete.
use that
Funchess
timeout.
makes the catch. They're going to use that timeout here with 5 seconds left.
It's one of those plays where that's your last resort, throwing it in the middle of the field where you know you can't get out of bounds. But again, you convert, you get closer, you get a better opportunity of a play call that you like. In this situation, Norv Turner, he likes that old 78 route where you get that post, outside post, inside corner, or potentially a big end. But you got to go to the end zone here. 5 seconds doesn't give you enough time to run a play and get out of bounds.
Kind of a chess match at this point. If you're the Falcons, you sit back and drop an extra man into coverage. Do you blitz? It's only 5 seconds left.
No, you got to play it. You got to play it honest now. Cam Newton can beat you with his legs. You got to make it a one-way go for him.
If he does decide to run, he's going to have to go 26 yards for a touchdown. And how about a timeout now from the Falcons? Dan Quinn going to take a little more time to think things through.
It's a smart timeout by Dan Quinn. He allows the offense to get set, show their formation. Now he calls a timeout, brings his guys over. Now he can scheme against what he just potentially saw. Now knowing Norv Turner, he's been around long enough to where he has another play in his back pocket to where he will go to something different to give him a different look than what they just showed.
There's a look at Norv Turner. His son Scott, the quarterback coach you saw down there just a moment ago talking to Cam. What do you think Devin Funchess is saying to him right now? Hey man, I'm going to be open?
Not so much I'm going to be open, it's give me a chance. Give me a chance, and I'll go try to make a play for you.
5 defensive backs in the ballgame for Atlanta.
Although I'm pretty sure he left the try part out. He just said, I'll make a play for you.
Cam maybe saying a little prayer. This is for all the marbles. 5 seconds to go in the game.
And a false start.
And a false start. Not going to help their cause. That was Taylor Moton.
Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty.
Western Michigan
Still first
alum
down.
there. Crucial 5 yards right there.
So now I guess if you want to look at the glass being half full, they have a little more room to work with. Ball now on the 31-yard line. After the 5-yard penalty. With Kuechly looking on. DJ Moore, the man in motion for the Panthers. Newton tosses it up.
Did he come down with that?
He did not. He was looking in the direction of Moore. And that is it. The Falcons hold on 31-24, the final. Grady Jarrett getting the pressure on Cam Newton.
He had a shot at it.
He did. Looked like Alford had a hand in there.
But as we saw before, you saw Funchess saying, give me a shot. You would think that he would go to a bigger receiver, but got to give somebody a chance, and he decided to go with DJ Moore there.
What a game in Atlanta.